So, morning or night, depending on where you are in the world. And welcome to another interview of the Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector. And today I'm joined by Dan. So, Dan plays guitar in a new group that is about to release an album very soon. And we're here to talk about it's called Dreamless Veil. So, Dan, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm trying to because when I was Googling you, I put like Dreamless something else. I'm like, no, it's Bale.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
I got confused. So this is a project that you got together with another musician. You know, you play also in Arma, and you basically created this band a few years ago. So tell me a little bit about the inspiration
Uh,
for the creation of the band.
yeah. Actually, our vocalist Mike plays in Inter Arma. He is their vocalist, and we also play together in my other band, Artificial Brain. But in the beginning, I actually started this project intending it to be just me. Like kind of,
Hmm.
like a lot of old black metal albums or just one guy. And I wanted to do that, but I really lyric writing is not my strong point, and I felt like what I was coming up with was not good. So Mike was actually my roommate at the time, and I asked him if he wanted to be involved, and he said yes. And I had like basically complicated drums programmed, also part of the one man band thing. But when I was on tour with Psycroptic, I was talking to Dave about black metal a lot, and he brought up the idea of doing a black metal side project. And I said, well, actually, I already have something recorded if you want to be involved. And he said yes. And really, that's how it's happened. It's not a very mystical story, but that is
No,
how it went.
yeah, and yeah, I'm sorry I put you in the band that you're not in.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, but this is a concept record, and it's a concept record about this character.
Mhm,
So the name of the album is Every Limb of the Flood.
mhm.
So it's a black and concept album that follows, the travails of, and the main character's name is Grief. So just with
Yeah.
that, alone that he must be depressed with the name. Uh, so I know. So you were saying in the press release about like you were hesitant to do a concept record because, and I have the same idea as you. It can be like really good or really crappy. Like,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
like there's no middle of the road with concept records. So what were you hesitant to do a concept
Um,
record at first?
well, I think that might have been something that Mike said, because I was kind of detached for the lyric writing process. Like I said earlier, that I gave it a shot, but I wasn't really into what I was coming up with. And Mike is a lyricist in his band, and he's very good at it. And he takes it really seriously. He's very well read when it comes to like poetry and stuff like that. So lyrics, I kind of can't say much about because I wasn't the one writing them. But as far as like a concept record goes, when I was writing the riffs, I was trying to write an album. Like this wasn't just like a collection of random songs that I smashed together onto a record. Like I wrote it with the intention of it being a record, and I had the flow of songs in mind. And from when I first wrote it and from the final product, I think we only changed the order of two songs. It was pretty similar to what I had written out. But yeah, unfortunately, I can't go too in depth about the lyrics because that was Mike's doing. I wrote the music and I played guitar and bass and keyboard.
Yeah. So if the concept sucked, it was his fault.
Mhm. But yeah, it was good though. I was very happy with what he wrote. I thought it fit
Yeah,
the music
no,
really well.
it does feel like uh I think as a listener you also can listen to this album and enjoy it without having to like know every detail of the story. Uh
Mhm.
but it does feel like an immersive experience, and it almost feels like it's a like there's like a flood, and like the flood keeps getting bigger on each track because each track is, this is a pretty extreme record with black metal, and I'm guessing like when you guys were choosing the singles for this, How do you go about it when it's the extreme metal?
Well, I think that Relapse had the idea for which songs to put out early, and I happen to agree with them mostly. I think that the first song we put out, A Generation of Lies, is very like kind of harkens back to Nightside Eclipse era Emperor, where it's like very melodic and the focus is less on like being harsh and more. I was thinking about the prettiness of black metal, the pretty side of black metal. And then the other two singles were kind of
Yeah,
the faster
Cyanide Mine
songs from the
and
record.
Saturnism.
Yeah, those are two of the more intense songs that I wrote for the record. Cyanide Mine was the second song I wrote for this album, and it got moved to the middle of the record. But yeah, I think that it's hard to say. I don't really know what makes a good single as a person who listens to weird music. I'm pretty separated from what people want to hear. I kind of just write what I want to hear. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Relapse just said, "Hey, we think these are the singles," and I felt that,
Yeah, and
but I
plus
didn't put much thought into what songs would
well,
be put out early.
yeah, but you did mix the record, so
Hmm.
you maybe you didn't write the lyrics, but you were involved in the sequencing and
Oh, for
other
sure.
things. And it says on the promo that you do vocals as well. I'm guessing you
Yeah,
do.
just
Do you do like
backup
the
vocals.
background vocals?
Some of them, not many, but some. It's
Yeah,
often
because you
Mike
can hear
doubling
sometimes you
himself.
hear the like the black like the shrieking, but there's something in the back. So I'm guessing, yeah, obviously there has to be two people doing it
Yeah,
at
yeah.
once.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes we multi-tracked Mike, and sometimes I wanted to record vocals too. Um, I had always done backing vocals in whatever bands I'm in, and it was fun to do that on this record too.
Yeah, but even though this is a black metal record, it sounds good, the production, because
Oh, thank
like
you.
when you listen to early black metal from the 90s, obviously everyone knows that it has like that raw
Hmm.
production that I don't know. Some people love it. To me, it's an
Hmm.
acquired taste.
Yeah, for
I like
sure.
to be able to listen to stuff like good.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I like it, but when I'm recording something, or when I'm mixing something, I'm more thinking like, what is appropriate for this music? Like, I guess I could have given it kind of a raw approach, but I don't think that would have served these songs as well. Um, but yeah, I have nothing against that kind of production. I don't like always do it if I'm mixing.
I don't know. Well, you have I think it's a Mayhem shirt, right?
Oh yeah, actually got
Yeah.
this
So
recently.
yeah. So you obviously like this is a band where you're doing like a different sounds from your other bands. Like
Mhm.
like what draws you into the black metal style of music?
Well, actually, this has kind of always been the sort of metal that I wanted to make. When I
Mhm.
joined Revocation, we were a technical death metal band, and when I wrote songs for them, I would use like little ideas that I got from black metal or little chord changes here and there that I got from black metal, but I never actually was trying to write a black metal song for that band. And with
Mhm.
Artificial Brain, I actually, I mean, this might sound surprising to some people, but we are constantly called a death metal band, and I'm telling you, 90% of these riffs are inspired by black metal. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess we got lumped into death metal because Will's vocals are so brutal, but the riffs are very inspired by black metal. Like we have death metal riffs every once in a while, but it's mostly black metal inspired. But again, that band is more kind of like a mix of genres, and this was the first time I set out to play something that could be called black metal.
Yeah, and it's awesome that you got a Psycroptic drummer as well. It's like if I'm because I think I saw, yeah, they're from Tasmania, Australia, right?
Yeah, originally, I
Yeah,
believe Dave lives in Melbourne now, but he
yeah,
and his brother Joe are from Tasmania.
yeah. I almost caught them live. I was
Oh, cool.
back in 2016. I was
Mhm.
in Oslo, and there was this Infernus music festival, and they were
Cool.
supposed to open in this place, but the venue had two floors, so I didn't
Wow.
know that it had two floors. So I was down stairs, and I'm like, where does Psycroptic play? And there's a guy told me, oh, that's it, in the top. I'm like, there's another
Oh
floor.
man.
So when I went upstairs, they had already finished their set. So I couldn't, I'm like, damn it, I wanted to see them.
Yeah, that's happened to me too at shows.
Yeah. So the album, like obviously it has that brutal themes to it. And it's your first, this is the first album that you have with this band. So like, are you looking forward to get to work on more music for this band? Because sometimes when bands branch out into other bands, sometimes people think, oh, is it a one-off or is this going to be a full-fledged project?
Well, I don't know. I'm always writing music, and I do have a lot of songs written for a potential future album from this band. I don't know. Yeah, I'm planning on making more music. I don't know what everyone else is planning. I haven't talked to them. I don't know if Relapse is going to be interested again. I have no idea, but yeah, I'm looking forward to writing more music. That's kind of my favorite process as a musician is writing and recording. I don't care as much about playing, even though I've done a lot of it. I'm much more passionate about like the creation of music. So I'll
So yeah,
always
so
be doing that.
so you're a musician that you prefer to be in the studio creating that are on the road. Yeah, I've talked to people that are like, no, they prefer to be in the road, and some people prefer the studio process. Well, the studio process at the end of the day, you get to go home and be comfortable in your house.
Yeah.
Because I don't, yeah, touring, touring it sounds appealing, but it's a lot of like traveling and not being, uncomfortable. So yeah, I would get that.
Yeah, I've done a lot of sleeping in the van in my day. But honestly, like I do like touring in a way, even though it's chaotic and you're in a new city every day, it is very much a routine. Like you wake up early every day, you drive for X amount of hours, and then once you get to the venue, it's the same routine. You got to set up stuff, get ready before doors open, and then you play your set. And I like that repetition. But yeah, I'm older now. I'm 39, and my back hurts if I sleep in the van. So yeah, it's tougher to tour as hardcore as I used to, but I'll still do it here and there.
Wait till you're in your 40s.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it.
It's just around the corner. So I
Yeah.
want to show the artwork of the album, which is pretty
Mhm.
cool artwork. Uh, so we can discuss the artwork. So yeah, uh, I'm trying. It's not very clear what's in the picture. I was like trying to look at it. I'm like, I know it seems to be a human,
Yeah.
but like with a
It's
mask.
a human with a slit wrist, and the blood coming out is the limbs of the float.
Oh, see,
See?
you gotta look at all the details. So,
Yeah.
but this is a picture, right? Because
Yeah, that artist I think does a lot of photo manipulation. I'm not really sure what goes into the creation of this type of art. I live with an illustrator who is a painter and a tattoo artist, so I see how that process goes. Also, my mother was an illustrator, so I would see her paint a lot. But this type of art, I'm less. I don't really know what goes on, so I'm kind of a bad person to ask. I think the artist did an awesome job. It was great, but yeah, I don't really know much
yeah,
about
no, it looks
this kind of
awesome.
thing.
But yeah, it's I'm trying to interpret it, but yeah, it's an awesome artwork uh for that. Uh so mixing the album and everything, like was there like a track for you that was the hardest to put together? Maybe the vocal arrangements or something that made the song like harder to work on,
No,
challenging.
I kind of I had the same approach for all the songs. I didn't like overdo it because I don't think that extremely polished production sounds great with black metal. So I wanted to be like a little rough around the edges, and I didn't want to like be all producery about it. But I wouldn't say that. I think the vocal tracking process was really smooth, and we had a good time, and it wasn't stressful. Like Mike would record vocals one song every Sunday night, and then we finished it when we finished it. There was no pressure, anything like that, and I didn't change anything. Like whatever he laid down remained on the album. The only thing I did, like here and there, I would like nudge things around if they were really early or late, but that happened like twice. So now whatever Mike laid down, we were feeling at the time, and when I listened to it in headphones, I was still into it. So that was a really easy process.
So how long did, like, so every Sunday when you wrote a song, how long did the process take?
I wrote it in about like 2 to 3 weeks. I got home from a tour. Revocation had just done a European tour, and when I got home, I kind of felt like writing. And I find that even though I write frequently, I don't get good results consistently, but I was in the zone and this came very fast. I didn't want to like overthink any of the riffs. So if I found that I was like reworking something over and over and over and it wasn't coming out right, I would just scrap the idea and go with something else. And it was a very fast process. Like no overthinking was kind of the rule that I set for myself. And I usually overthink when I write, for better or for worse. But on this one, I didn't let myself do that, and it made it a really fast process. But also, I've been
What,
writing for like decades, so the
yeah,
more I
with your
do, the
other
faster I
bands.
get. Yeah.
Yeah, but what do you overthink, like the placing of like the music tempo? Like what do you usually overthink about when you're doing that?
I'll just be like, I don't know, is this harmony working? Does it sound stupid? Like, should I go from this riff to this riff, or should I go from this riff to that riff? Sometimes stuff like that takes trial and error, and it can take multiple listens to decide like which feels right. But um ultimately I'm just like sitting at my computer. It's almost like I'm sketching, you know? It's like I draw something, I erase it, I draw something, I erase it. And if an idea feels good from the start, I'll run with that. I don't really think I get good results if I try to force it, you know? But this is a process that I've been like getting accustomed to over time for a really long time. So I don't really know what other people's writing process is. I kind of only know my own.
I
So
think everyone has like a different style,
oh, of
like
course, yeah.
or what works to them.
Mhm.
But I think that you doing this project with your friend, did that help that you were roommates, you had that connection? So was it easy or to
Yeah,
work
yeah.
with someone that you have because you have the connection of being roommates and maybe like even you can work on this and be like even like be like a loser type of project because you didn't have like that pressure of a deadline to put this out.
Yeah, I mean, and that's very much how it went. We had no visions for this. We weren't like, oh, we're gonna sign to a label and people are gonna buy this. Like, I had no idea. I didn't even know if we'd ever put it out, but we were just having fun, you know. We recorded vocals during the pandemic, but actually a lot of the music was done being recorded even before that happened. So it's been in the works for a long time. I really took my time mixing it. Also, I was fairly new to mixing at the time. This was years ago now. So I learned a lot from this record. Uh, but yeah, it was very loose schedule, no pressure kind of situation.
Yeah. So yes, I go. So now that you did that part with the mixing,
Mhm.
maybe you're more confident to do more mixing in the future.
Oh yeah, I've been doing mixing for bands this whole time pretty much. I've been doing it for about like 6 years now, and I will always feel like an amateur no matter what, but I'm getting better and better, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, the longer you'll do it, it'll keep getting better. So yeah.
Hmm.
So the name of the band, Dreamless Veil, is there a
Hmm.
story behind that name?
No, Mike said, "Do you like this name?" And I said, "Yes." It was the first one he
You
came up with.
you know, with the name, like if I haven't heard the music or almost, I would think like Dreamless Veil. I could also think that it could be a shoegaze band.
Yeah,
Uh,
it could. Yeah,
yeah,
it's not a very
yeah, but
brutal name. It's more sad than brutal.
yeah, I know, like yeah, it's the same thing. Like when I listened the first time I heard the name Death Heaven, I thought, but now they kind of play more shoegaze, but
Hmm.
but yeah, it's like a name, like you know, it's not like cattle decapitation
Right.
or something like that. That you're like, oh yeah, this has to be very brutal. So, but Dreamless Veil, yeah, it sounds like it's almost like pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I think this band is kind of, although it is chaotic and intense at times, I think it's more focused on like melodic black metal. I didn't do any acoustic guitar overlays, but I might do that on the next record. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of inspired by the era of black metal bands where there was a lot of like pretty riffs and melodic riffs, and it's not like as like terrifying as some black metal can be. I'll do that in another project, not this one.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, there's when you think of like different black metal bands that done something different, I think of like a band like Alcest, which basically started like incorporating shoegaze, and they have like
Mhm.
dreamier landscapes. So yeah, there's different styles of like bands. So I don't know. I enjoy the variety of
Yeah,
like
me too.
of different things, and maybe that way you're not like you can do like different styles and still have like the sound of your band.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I think
So
black metal is a really huge genre with tons of variety. I think it's more varied than like thrash or death metal by a lot. I think it gets like, lampooned by mainstream people because it's so out there and it sounds ridiculous at times, and some of the photos look ridiculous to normal people, but like I really do feel more connected with that genre than any other metal genre. And I'll probably always be playing it, whether it's out in public or by myself.
yeah, yes. Yeah, yeah. Well, you don't have the corpse paint that, it was a sort of, a lot of people think
Yeah.
of that, the corpse paint, but yeah, I think it's different styles than done. And I agree with you. Thrash metal, I think, has gotten pretty stale. Like, I think there's some other bands that they're trying to sound like older bands, but then like all the songs sound the same.
Mhm.
Uh, so yeah, I can see why black metal is like experimenting and blending with different genres.
Yeah, I think it you can mix it with anything and it works pretty well. As far as newer bands being stale, yeah, that I think that happens a lot. You just have to look for the bands that are doing fresh stuff, and a lot of those bands are just not popular. So yeah, it's hard for me to find bands that I'm excited about in the metal mainstream or whatever you want to call it, but they're out there for
Yeah,
sure.
like what, like when you're not like doing your music and stuff, like which bands do you like to listen to on your spare time?
Lately I've been listening to a lot of Arismenda. I've been listening to a lot of Craft lately. A lot of classical music, a lot of like soundtracks, whether it's like a video game or a movie or something like that. Um, but yeah, as far as metal, I've been listening to Craft a lot. I really like their guitarist. I think that they do some really creative things with the genre while also maintaining the raw attitude of black metal. So that's been cool to listen to. Yeah, Arismenda is one of those Black Twilight Circle bands that I love all of them pretty much, but I've been digging into their discography lately, and they're pretty unique sounding. I can't think of many bands that sound like them. Um, but yeah, as far as metal, that's what I've been listening to lately.
Yeah, it's yeah. I like to ask to some musicians like sometimes they're like, yeah, I listen to some stuff, and sometimes they're like, no, I don't listen to anything.
Oh yeah,
I'm like,
no, I love metal. I listen to it. I just
yeah,
I'm not always listening to it.
no, no, no. Like yeah, there's other stuff good to listen to. So the album's gonna be out September the 20th. So it's well, once this is out, it's already out by
Yeah.
Relapse Records. So what are
Mhm.
I know you don't like touring, but like are you gonna have like release shows or some
Maybe.
sporadic shows here and there to promote?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to do that. It's going to be tough to play with Dave. He's going to be on tour with Psycroptic soon. I know they just made a new record, and he lives very far away.
Oh,
And I mean, I love the
Australia
guy.
is
He did
super
a
far
really
away.
amazing job. Yeah, it's the other side of the planet. He did such a great job, and I would love to work with him more. But it would probably be hard to get him to the States just for a show. So I don't know. If he's cool with us getting a live drummer, I'd be open to that. But I mean, on the record, I did two guitars, bass, and synth. So that's a lot of people we would have to recruit to play
Yeah,
live.
that's another
Um,
thing that even though it's black metal, you put sims into it, which
oh yeah.
I'm guessing because of your love of soundtracks. Because when I think of sims, I think of, John Carpenter. I think of those
Oh
movies.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
For this record, I didn't use sounds like that, although I do have next to me a keyboard for synthwave type stuff. But for this record, I used like, and it's very low in volume. I didn't want to like go
yeah,
really
no, it's not
upfront
like
with
in
it,
the form.
but
It's like
no, just like
in
choir
the
pads
background.
in the
Mhm.
background. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I didn't want to go all out. I mean, I would like to do more of that in the future. Maybe if we make another record, I'll do more synth. But yeah, it's pretty like subdued on this record. I didn't go all out with it. But
yeah,
yeah, it was like
but
choirs and string type sounds.
yeah. So yeah, having your every time that I talk to Australian bands, I have to coordinate the times.
Oh yeah.
I once interviewed a band. It was 6 a.m. in the morning for me, and it was 9 for them. And I was like so asleep, and I'm like, yeah, you better have a good interview, since I'm waking up like at 5:30 in the morning to talk to the band. It was actually a shoegaze band from Australia,
Oh, cool.
pretty cool band. So yeah, so this record, it's pretty cool. It's extreme. It's a
Mhm.
concept record. Obviously you didn't write the concept, but I mentioned what the concept is. It says so in there. It's about the process of this character named Grief and how he deals with everything that's happening around him.
Mhm.
Uh, so it's not a feel good record.
No, it's not.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. So you said that. So do you know like when your next shows are, or like you can't tour without
Yeah,
the
without being
drummer.
well, we would have to put together a live lineup. I do have shows around the corner with other bands that I'm playing in, but as
Yeah,
far as my own band, Artificial Brain is making our next record very soon. So we've just been focused on writing that. And Dreamless Veil, I mean, I'm writing, I'm ready to do more, but right now we're just waiting to see, if people like the record.
yeah. For now, the album's going to be out and people can check it out and
Mhm.
listen to it. I'll put the link so people who want to buy it physically can do
Thank
it.
you.
Plus, it's a relapse record, which is a cool record label.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
They've been cool to work with.
Great bands have been throughout that record label. So before I let you go, Dan, anything you
Mhm.
like to say to the people before we go?
No, I just hope you dig the record and thanks for watching.
Yeah. So Cultures, you heard here, the album is gonna be out now, Dreamless Veil. Uh, so if I'll put the link for people who want to listen to it. The name is Every Limb of the Flood, out September 20 on Relapse Records. So I want to thank you, Dan, for taking some time to chat with me,
Oh, yeah, of course.
all the
Thank
way
you.
from your house to here in Puerto Rico. Yeah, and yeah, it's if you see this interview in real time, you can see the sunset
Oh
behind you.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because the sunset while we were talking. So until next time, couchers, this is Hector, the shoe dude on a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and goodbye.